What is up, guys, and welcome to AEW Review Show. I'm your host, Vince LaSpada. Dan is off tonight. I don't know where Dan's at. Maybe Dan went to AEW. Who knows? Maybe he flew for AEW. But joining me is our study cast tonight. Up to my, to my right is Evil Dose. What's going on, man?
What's up? Happy Valentine's Day, everyone. You're watching us. You don't have a Valentine's Day.
And to my, I'm getting this all confused. To my right, excuse me. Z is silent. What's going on, man?
Hey, happy Love Day, everybody. It must be Valentine's Day, and I must not have anything to do because I've watched 2 hours of professional wrestling that I didn't need to, and I don't have anything else to do. So here we go. We talk wrestling.
Well, guys, let's kick off the show with which I thought was a good match. I know before the show, me and Z is silent and Evil Dose. I guess we're not in sync with this match. Jon Moxley taking on Dax Hardwood. And I'm going to tell you what, there was so many FTR chants going on, which, listen, you might not like these guys, and you might not like the way these guys wrestle or they steal moves or whatever the case is, but these guys are well over. I mean, they're so over that honestly, I'm really surprised that they're still not the AEW Tag Team Champions. But I'm gonna steal a page from JR. I know he says slobber knocker. I'm gonna say slapper knocker because this match was a complete slap in the face to everybody in the ring. It went 18 minutes and 35 seconds, which it was 2 minutes left of the time of the 20-minute time of the match. Jon Moxley did get the win. Guys, what did you think about this match?
Well, it was, in fact, a slap to my face. This was a slappy knocker. This was every Jon Moxley match I've ever seen, and it might have been good if I ever doubted who was going to win and if I hadn't seen this match 4,000 times already on AEW programming. I don't like the slap fighting thing. I don't like the Japanese strong style, and I like it less when it's Japanese weak style. I hate the open hand slapping. I think that's stupid as hell, and I don't need a 20-minute match to open my wrestling TV show. I don't need a 20-minute match on my wrestling TV show, period. Hey, Charmaine.
Happy Valentine's
unless
Day,
it's important,
Charmaine.
like last week, like you had last week when you had Paige versus Swerve. That's a match that had stakes to it, so it deserved to go 30 minutes. But the problem with AEW is that they feel like every match needs to go long, and this one didn't need to go long. And by the way, you said they were chanting FTR. They were also chanting BCC. So what? The 2,100 people who showed up in an 18,000 seat arena were chanting FTR and BCC. Who gives a damn? They chant for everything. Everyone's over in AEW. You can't gauge anything from the crowd there because everything and everyone is over. If you listen to the crowd, Trent Beretta's over. No, he's not.
I don't know. I kind of dig Beretta. Beretta's there. He's been there since the beginning. He's just one of those guys who he's just favorable. People don't think that he's super good, but they don't think he's super bad, but he's not awful. We've seen worse. I mean, Darby Allin mentioned Brandon Cutler for the first episode of Dynamite. So if that is context, then I will take a Trent Beretta over Brandon Cutler any day of the week.
If your point is that there are worse, yes, there are worse.
Yes, that's my point. But I will say, okay, so my discrepancies with this match, and I didn't get it too much into it when we were talking backstage. Reason why, and I guess it has to do more so with the character work and the story arc of what they're trying to do between the BCC and FTR, right? Like FTR is in this weird spot character-wise. Like we know they're arguably top 5 tag team in the world for the past 2 years, right? The problem is they've been in that main event card so long and they've held those belts for so long, you kind of want to get burned out because their characters haven't changed when they held the titles. So in order to get them to get a fresh coat of paint, so to speak, you need to have them lose the belts and have them do something else, right? So I just think that separating Cash and Dax, I don't like seeing them in singles matches. And I don't know what the hell is going on with Mox at this point. I mean, if we're let's take it in perspective from where Mox was on a bigger stage, right? His two other brothers are talk of the town. And what are you doing in AEW? I mean, you signed this company on your back. You've been one of the best people in this company, and you're relegated to facing Dax Hardwood at an opening segment.
I mean, he's the only
and this is considered a good match though. What does it do for either of these teams? Which I don't. Who wants to see FTR and BCC? I don't. I think both of their character story arcs are boring, but the match was decent. But for the storytelling that Swerve was saying, everybody in AEW tells a story in the ring. I didn't get the story in the ring. No, so therefore it was a disconnect for me. But decent action, but I just didn't get the story.
As I said before, I think it's like the same match, so it's hard to consider a story if it's a rerun. But to me, forget about everything I said about the match. After the match, I would like this when the heels continue to cheat and they're savage, and I might have a little issue with the ease that Cesaro dispatched Cash, because that's not really the way it's supposed to be. But the heel team is beating the crap out of FTR. But for what? Right now, BCC is the AEW defenders fending off a CMLL invasion. So are they heels or are they faces or are they both? And why are they going off on FTR? It's if this rivalry was to tell us who the number one contenders would be for the AEW belts, then I could understand the savagery. But that's not even the story. The Bucks clearly have that story cornered for now. I'm not even clear who's a tag team in the BCC. I mean, Brian, he's off doing all. He's going to Japan. He's going to Mexico. They're having an 8-man in Mexico with Pesquico and Rancho Cucamonga Co. and El Sphinxy and Tessa Blanchard is in a match somehow. I don't know. I just don't understand what I'm supposed to like. I would love the if this was the Bucks beating up a job team at the end. I get it. I understand. That's a story. I understand what you're trying to impart to me. But if the crowd is still cheering for the BCC when they're beating their so over FTR, who I agree is one of the best tag teams in the world. Yeah, they're 5'8", but they're one of the best tag teams in the world. Towards what end? If the BCC aren't going to be heels, towards what end?
Yeah, that's all I was saying about the disconnect as far as the character arc. And I'm sorry to cut you off, Vinny. Remember 2 weeks ago when we got Moxley to cut a backstage promo about how BCC wasn't going to settle for anything less than the best and he was going to get back in the world title picture? He's not even in the freaking rankings. So to declare that for the BCC, and then you come out and do something completely different, but then there's another federation coming and you're supposed to be defending AEW, but then you're also doing the backdoor shit to the AEW roster. It just didn't make sense. So in that match, I couldn't tell who was the face and who was the heel because it wasn't clear cut, because they both were doing pretty much the same thing to each other. That's all I'm saying.
Well, let's put it this way. I wish we could all just watch wrestling for what it is. Not everything has to have a storyline, I feel. So I mean, I can tell you there's many matches on Raw and SmackDown that we watch that doesn't have any storyline. So I mean, you could probably take that as this is. I mean, that's how I look at it. I mean,
no. You're absolutely right, and that's what I'm saying though. But when you have something, we get vignettes of both teams. We get backstage promos from both teams. That's them planting the seeds of the character or the story they're trying to tell. And then the ring is the cherry on the top. We don't get a cherry on the top between them, but yet they have TV time to let us know what they're doing or where they're going with their characters. And it just didn't hit like it did. Now, like the Wardlow thing, the Wardlow match, absolutely. He has no character. We don't even know what the hell Wardlow is. His match was just a wrestling match and it was whatever. Go ahead.
Well, from backstage to Renee Paquette interviewing the family, Don Callis, Will Hobbs, and Takeshna. I hope I'm saying his name right because I always
Takeshna.
You're not.
Huh?
You're
Takeshna.
not. But I'm an AEW fan. Oh, well, Z has it covered. Us AEW fans, we know how to say his name.
Yeah, okay. Anyways, they call him the best rope-to-rope ring competitor, which I don't agree with. And then Callis also used, he said, I used to fight my brother's backs in the backyard. And
you're skipping a point as to why he said that.
Huh?
Well, he was Renee, who, what the hell was she wearing, by the way? She's not 12 years old. Secondly, she was pointing out that, he was complaining that Takeshita, the best wrestler in the world, doesn't have a match. Hobbs, nobody wants to touch him. So he's gone in-house, and he's got a member of the Don Callis family who's going to face Takeshita. So the Alpha is going to face at Revolution Will Ospreay. So either way, the family wins. Note, he didn't tell you who his match. He didn't say Kyle Fletcher is going to face Will Hobbs, but that's why Renee asked him about this. She's like, "You're going to have your own people fight each other," and that's why he told the story about his father pitting his brothers against each other.
Well, if you gave me a second, I would have said that.
I'm just trying.
But
you
jump the gun.
Well, no, you jumped the gun. I'm reminding you.
I jumped the gun to tell the story.
And you have to cock the gun first, and then you shoot.
You want to host the show?
No.
Okay. All right.
I just want to nitpick on you. That's all.
I know, because you're a fucking asshole.
Right.
All right. Let's go on. Let's see. Okay. So the second match we got, just like you were saying, Z, was Wardlow taking on a nobody.
Yeah.
A nobody. Adam Cole sits down at the commentary table. Wardlow gives a power bomb, and the match is over. Just like you said, there's no character. And then what's that toupee on his head? Is that really hair?
I don't know what the hell that is.
Because I could have sworn he was bald at one time. Now he has this. It looks like it's fake hair, but I know it's not. It just looks ridiculous on his head.
The dude he was facing, I think his name was like Brandon Scott or something, or
Brandon
Barrett Brown. It's Barrett Brown, and I only know this because there's another Barrett Brown who's a wrestler in Georgia who partnered with.
He knows because he's such an AEW fan. He even knows the guys.
Wrestling because he partnered with the Jonathan Gresham on Terminus. But this Barrett Brown, when I saw him, I'm like, oh my goodness! Is Joey Janela back? What the? And did he lose weight? I thought it was like Joey Janela and Andrew Everett, morphed into one person, and this jabroni comes out here. So meanwhile, Wardlow wins, but he does this power bomb where he lifts him up by his tights, so it's supposed to be higher, to make it look like more impact. But he let him down so slow, it wasn't even impactful. So even his power move sucked. And Adam Cole is there on commentary, but they never really announced Adam Cole was going to be there on commentary, and he didn't say very much. So it's not even like he was talking up Wardlow the whole time. It's like the whole thing was like a non-segment, and it's like you always know when they have no idea what to do with Wardlow, they just give him squash matches. And out of that 84-12 record he's probably had 72 squash matches.
I don't get it. I don't get it. Like, Wardlow had so much potential, so much going when he was with MJF, and then they broke him off, and they still give him a push, and he's fighting viable opponents, and then you put him with Adam Cole, and then he's relegated back to facing who's who. You have a roster of over 100 wrestlers, and you still bring in no-namers to help boost your talent. Like, I don't get what they're doing with Wardlow. I mean, I get that they're probably going to have him break off with Adam Cole, and they're going to feud when it's time to go after the belt. But until then, why do you have him facing these people that he's clearly going to win? I didn't get it. That match was super filler. You could have did something else with that. But Jeffrey, I agree. I definitely think that they dropped the ball so much that it's lost air. Nobody cares about Wardlow at this point anymore, and him being with the Undisputed Kingdom, it still doesn't do anything more for him or them.
Right. He was so winded after his 17-second match that he couldn't help them at the end, so they lost a death match. That, again, tell me why there's a death match at the beginning of a feud with the one guy that's not even the leader. But he couldn't even be bothered to come out and help them, nor could Cole, because it's so important. I mean, in the same 2 hours, things don't make sense. But yeah, the only thing I'm concerned about with I still think they can do something with Hobbs and do something with him. I think, and I put these two together because they were sort of the two AEW homegrown young big guys who came in. It wasn't Brian Cage that he brought in. It wasn't Jake Hagar or Jack Swagger, whatever his name is, that they brought in. I guess Luchasaurus was too, but he's sort of a gimmick act. But I think I think Wardlow.
They didn't
I
have
think
them. They didn't have them feud for too long, and we got a taste of it, Pauls, and it was great. But like, we should have got more. We should have got more from that feud. But that's fine. I mean, if they're going to stay long term, we can still get this. We can still get this later on this year, and it'll be better. So they gave us a little something to work with, which was fine. But Hobbs is doing much better from the feud than Wardlow at this point.
I wish Callis, gave him an opponent. I mean, I assume they're waiting to see if Sammy Guevara can get cleared again, because every time they clear him, he gets another concussion, or at least they think he does. But I'm just worried that Wardlow is permanently damaged. He's like permanently tarnished goods. Which if he wants to be Mr. Hughes forever, that's fine, and never advance to being the big boss man, that's fine too. But I mean, it's almost like I feel like Karrion Kross is damaged goods in WWE, and Wardlow is damaged goods in AEW. They should just trade them, because they're basically the same guy anyway, and see if both of them in a new place can get a fresh start and pick up some steam.
Well, guys, we need to take a break, but let's take this time to showcase some of the other UPR shows on the network.
Ooh.
So stick around.
Here it is. Were you a Cody Rhodes fan during the Legacy days? I'm sorry, Vaughn. I had to rock this hat because I've been a Cody Rhodes fan forever. Orton versus Cody from the Legacy days, right? Were you a fan of Dashing? Were you buying the shirts for Dashing? Were you fixing your mustache when he finally grew it? Not in this picture, but was you growing your mustache for Dashing Cody Rhodes? When he actually broke his nose and he wore the mask and he put the bags on fans, were you cheering for Cody? Oh, anyway, you waited till he left the company after Stardust, which he still did good, because everything Cody Rhodes ever touches, it's always been good. Okay? The American Nightmare, Ring of Honor. He went and started his own federation over in AEW. He's breaking thrones. He didn't win WrestleMania because of this shit right here. It's literally in my fucking intro. You have to pay the piper. And I get that the piper is gone, and we know what been picked, but you had to pay. And now all of a sudden, now you're a fan. I get it now, right? Because he came out, he fought the establishment. That's what it's all about, people. See, what you don't understand is that sit down, lay down. Go ahead, lay down. It's okay. It's okay. Lay down. Put on some Marvin Gaye, some Johnny Gill, that deep R&B. And just lay back and let the smooth sounds of Mike Knox educate you on what you don't even know yourself. And that's the fact that you just truly deep down inside hate the WWE. There's your tweet. Hey, Chris, there's your commercial.
And welcome back to the AEW Review Show. That is the Mike Knox Show. You never know what Mike Knox is going to say, because it's always open for him. And that's what, Mondays at 6 p.m., Z?
Mondays at 6 p.m.
I feel romanced right now.
It's really weird. I don't know why I should be enjoying that too much as a heterosexual male, but I shouldn't be. I feel weird.
So let's get back to the show. We see a promo of a plane flying high in the sky and landing, and it has Nicholas and Matthew, not the Young Bucks, but Nicholas and Matthew on the jet coming off, getting into a stretch Cadillac limo, and still wearing the white bloody suits from the breaking up Sting and Darby Allin the week before.
Because it was the same camera shot of the same plane from last week as well. So
right,
they might as well have the same clothes.
By
the way, when the commentary was introducing it, they go earlier today, and then when we're seeing the screenshot, it says live on the upper left hand side of the TV screen.
Yeah, drop the ball with that one.
Before we get to the next match, guys, I'm going to say something. I know it's probably going to fire a lot of people up, and I know you guys are definitely not going to believe. Or
free subs for everyone tomorrow?
What?
Free subs for everyone that comes between 12:30 and 1:30 on you?
No. They made a comment about Daniel Garcia taking on Adam Copeland, that this is an honor to take on a Hall of Famer. Okay? Let's get one thing straight here, okay?
Okay.
The reason why, and I'm not going to say he never was going to be a Hall of Famer, but the reason why he became a Hall of Famer as soon as he has, is because the man got hurt, had to retire, and that same year, they awarded him with a Hall of Fame ring. Now, does he deserve it? Absolutely. But in 10 years, am I going to go, wow, I can't believe I just watched 3 great Hall of Fame matches by Adam Copeland or Edge? Because I'm still going to be talking about the greats: Piper, Hogan, Flair, Andre. Those are the guys I'm talking about. So I just love how the new society of wrestling thinks guys like Adam Copeland is like the future Hall of Famers of the greats.
Real quick, name those other guys that you said beforehand. Real quick.
Piper, Flair, Hogan, Andre
the Giant.
Yeah.
Okay. So you mean to tell me Roddy Piper had a super great career that he couldn't be surpassed? What did Piper do that couldn't be done today?
Well, for different reasons, a lot of what he did couldn't be done today.
Well, I mean, blackface, of course, but I mean, like, what made Piper
also the coconut too?
I mean, I think Piper was a fantastic talker. I mean, way better than Edge. I think his segments. I think a lot of his segments with Snuka on Piper's Pit was, and I think his in-ring work. I mean, I'm not going to say it was the best, but I'm going to say that a lot of people, even to this day, even the Hollywood Backlog Brawl match with Goldust, I mean, it wasn't his best match, but it was very interesting to watch. And I still think in '96, when his career was coming to an end, I still think he had it in the ring.
Okay. I'm saying, I was asking a question to say that in different eras, in the span of 10 years, right? You just go from 10 years. In the span of 2000, let's say 1 to 2010, there was nobody bigger than Cena, Orton, Edge, Batista, and you could throw in anybody else that was at that height. You could still put Taker there because Taker was still pretty strong. You can put Triple H on the back half. He was still pretty strong. Even Shawn Michaels. A lot of people like that Shawn Michaels run from the mid to late 2000s. A lot of people. So when you talk about counterparts and dancing partners, there's been no better dancing partner for John Cena than Edge or Orton. It could be 1A, 1B. So when you say you don't know what Edge has done or how he doesn't deserve to be in that Hall of Fame, that makes me question what you think was so great about Roddy Piper. That's all I'm saying. But to each their own. It's not a bad take. It's not a bad take at all. It's just, I think that what Edge has done in his career for the late 2000s, it definitely warranted him being inducted immediately into the Hall of Fame. But since coming out of retirement, I can't tell you a great match other than what he did with Orton at Mania, which was, taped or whatever. I haven't seen too much of. Oh, that was a great Edge match. So this is a time where he's just getting his last run, and so you kind of take it what it is.
I think Christian. Honestly, I think Christian had a great run in the same time as Edge. I think he should be a Hall of Famer, but I think they dropped the ball. I think
Christian's run is underappreciated.
Very unappreciated, but I think they dropped the ball because they're still worried about like Cyndi Lauper and all the people that aren't deserving to be in the Hall of Fame. Because let's just face it, Drew Carey's in it, Kid Rock's in it. They made 1 or 2 appearances in the Hall of Famers. That doesn't make any sense to me.
We've discussed the celebrity was different, but if your point is that Edge is deserving of the Hall of Fame, but he's not, he's sort of not, he's sort of like a Jeff Jarrett. He's deserving, but he was like, he's been around a long time, and he's not, anyone's favorite wrestler. I mean, I think that Z has a point for there was probably a 5 or 6 year period where he probably was as big as anyone else, but I mean, I would put him like more in the Matt Hardy and Jeff Hardy category than I would in the Cena Rock, but I don't really understand what the debate is. I mean, I think we all agree he's a Hall of Famer, but like, I don't think he's in anyone's list of top 25.
He's on nobody's Mount Rushmore.
Oh, right. Well, that's for sure. Well, that's what I'm trying to get at. I'm not saying he doesn't deserve to be a Hall of Famer. I'm just saying I don't like how WWE goes upon it, because as well as I do that they haven't announced one single actual person for the Hall of Fame this year, which I don't know what they're doing.
What the f is up with that? Like, what is up with that?
Right, they will after Elimination Chamber when they're trying to control the news cycle again after the WrestleMania card is more set. I mean, right now they're running this one until and then Elimination Chamber it'll be more set, and then they'll start announcing them, and then they'll start leaking things, the Tuesday or Wednesday after Raw, and then they'll confirm something by Thursday, and it'll show up on SmackDown Friday, and then and then you'll start hearing things, and then people will run with the speculation. Is this the year that Batista goes in? And and that's what they're doing. They're controlling the news cycle. And if there's ever been a company in wrestling that's been more inspired to try to control the news cycle than now, I don't tell me what it is, because like there should be buzzards swirling around all of them, actively taking. I'm not even going to say it because it's a bad pun and I didn't intend it. But I mean, they should be worried about all sorts of other things coming down the news cycle, and they probably still are. And right now they're successfully manipulating it. But in any event, I think you're building to your favorite Clash of the Titans in Superstar, the rated beyond our superstar Danny Garcia versus the formerly rated our superstar, the AARP rated superstar Adam Copeland.
So tell us about it then.
Boring as shit. Edge was supposed to win, but the bad guys of All Son Nick Wayne and Mrs. Shayna Wayne came in with Luchasaurus and beat up Edge. They beat up Danny Garcia, so he couldn't help Edge. And then then Christian came in and they did a concerto. They're giving concertos out like there's no tomorrow. Concertos used to be something that were done very rarely. And somehow Edge is still going to wrestle at Revolution. And apparently he was able to get out. They didn't do a stretch or anything. Doc Samson and Danny Garcia were able to arm under arm help him to the locker room where he's being evaluated. But this match was a waste of my time. The Cope Open, took a 2 or 3 week hiatus after Minoru Suzuki, maybe Murder Grandpa did a little bit too much damage to Real Grandpa. I don't know, but I thought this match was rather meaningless, and I'm not really understanding why they're putting Daniel Garcia into the TNT title when all anybody wants to see is Christian versus Edge, and Daniel Garcia, they force him down throats more than anyone that's not named Orange Cassidy.
Well, let me back up here, and you don't understand why they put Daniel Garcia in the picture, because it's the Copeland Cup. Copeland is trying to prove himself again, so the show that he's a number 1 contendership for the TNT title. So that's why Daniel Garcia is with him. And I don't understand when you say boring. Like, you got a guy that's in his 50s, okay? He's taking, just like Singh, he's in his 60s. They're both taking top rope bumps onto the mat. They're diving off out of the ring like they're 20 years old. I mean, Daniel Garcia is so underrated. I mean, I can't name a shitty Daniel Garcia match, because I feel like every time he goes in there, he puts on 110% in there, and he's so underrated. I mean, the guy, he should be a TNT champion. I mean, if you don't think Daniel Garcia's, I mean, let's put it this way: how many times have you seen Jeff Hardy or Matt Hardy matches, and they're completely shit? This is nowhere near that. At least the guy
Sting versus Jeff Jarrett.
Go.
I mean, Sting versus Jeff Hardy.
No, I mean, I'm not going to. What do you mean?
He was drunk.
Oh,
Jeff Hardy was drunk, trying to defend the title.
He's always drunk. But what I'm trying to tell you is that this match is not that bad. It really wasn't that bad.
No, I don't know. I agree. I don't think that it was bad. I mean, I second what you're saying. I am also a Daniel Garcia fan. I've been a Daniel Garcia fan since the first time I seen him. I thought that he should have been an honorary 4-pillar instead of Jungle Boy, but it's the matches, the feud that he's had with Wheeler Yuta is one of the things that got him over. Right? Like, people don't like Wheeler Yuta for whatever reason. Wheeler Yuta can go. He can go just as much as Daniel Garcia can. Something about Daniel Garcia, maybe he just needs to pack on a little bit more muscle. I don't know what it is, but he's 25. He's still relatively young. He could be one of those chips on the chessboard that AEW can use. However, Tony Khan does not really use his young, thriving pieces the way that he should, and he keeps relying on big names, and eventually that's going to run out. He's literally mirroring a TNA approach, and we saw how long it took for TNA to get back some respectability. But if you focus on guys like Darby, guys like Daniel Garcia, guys like Wheeler Yuta. For the people that love AEW, hardcore wrestling fans that are over characters that WWE produces and just want fucking wrestling, though Daniel Garcia is one of your guys. He should definitely focus on Daniel Garcia as one of his guys. But I wanted to bring to your attention something going into tonight, right? Because it made no sense, and I'm gonna show you why it made no sense. These are the rankings. Now, this was as of February 10th. February 10th, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't see Daniel Garcia's name in the singles anywhere. So how was it that whoever won between him and Adam Copeland was going to face Christian? They produce these rankings and then they don't even follow their own rankings. That makes no sense to me. So you're wondering, why was this match even happening or taking place? I'm asking the same thing. What's the difference? What's the point of having the rankings if you're just going to have people jump? Where is Nicholas and Matthew Jackson on here? Nowhere. We're not even talking about Ricky Starks and Big Bill, who just lost it. So I just think that they bring back these rankings, and then people are jumping, and now Adam Copeland versus Christian, but you kind of jumped over Daniel Garcia, who was never even in the contender to begin with. They just kind of put him in there, but you didn't put it on your website. So like that matters to those hardcore fans. That matters to those people that how many wins and losses did they take over the year? Like that matters to those type of fans. And I don't know. I don't know if I'm nitpicking. Do you guys think that I'm nitpicking here?
No, I think you're right.
I don't think you're nitpicking. I mean, they made a big deal about bringing the rankings back, and it took about 3 days before they put Tomohiro Ishii in a championship match with Orange Cassidy for no reason. And it took the same night for them to put Hook in a match with Joe. Now they could have explained it away. He did have a good enough record to be there, but I mean they didn't. They don't have the records, and then they did it again. There's another match. Isn't Eddie Kingston facing? I think it's Ishii again. There's like another match that makes no sense for a title. Tomohiro Ishii. He's the little Japanese pit bull. What do you mean who's that?
I don't know who you're talking about.
He's had more singles matches in AEW than Miro has. he's the short. He's Japanese King Kong Bundy, except he's small and old. He's the Japanese pit bull. He's in chaos. Anyway, anyway, you know what? True story about what Mike Knox was talking about with Dashing Cody Rhodes. My youngest son, who's going to be 20, when I said, "Hey, there's a new wrestling network organization," he goes, "Oh yeah, isn't that the one with Dashing Cody Rhodes and Goldust in it?" I'm like, "Well, that's his brother." I'm like, "What? Goldust, Dustin Rhodes? That's his half brother." He's like, "I had no idea." He's like, "What's?" Yeah, it's his half brother. Like they share one parent.
Yeah, they got the same dad.
Right. Okay. I mean, do I need to go backwards? Is this like the shotgun thing again, where I have to go back to the birds and the bees and explain how those things work?
No, I didn't know.
I mean, I know you're alone hosting a wrestling show on Valentine's Day. So.
All right, go ahead, Vince. We still got. We didn't even get through half the card.
All right, so Joe comes out, do a promo talking about that he thought from the week prior what they had, the Swerve and Page, they fought for the draw, that they thought that they were going to go to the back of the line. Yeah, I can't stand that guy. I cannot stand him. I don't know how you guys like this fucking guy.
What?
He's such a clown.
But he's over.
That's what makes it great.
What?
He's over with the same people who are
though.
Yeah, but they're all fucking morons that like this freaking mook.
The contrast is what makes it great. I don't understand. Like whenever you can put comedy with seriousness, it makes for a good contrast.
Austin Powers. That's a comedy.
What the fuck is that?
This is a laser disc. Okay? Austin Powers is a comedy. This guy is a train wreck.
Because before your guys, we should like FTR because they're over with the crowd. But this is over with the crowd. And you tell us we should like Daniel Garcia for his wrestling. But the only thing that's over about Daniel Garcia is his silly little dance. So are we supposed to like things that are over with the crowd, or are we supposed to like things that you like?
But you have to understand this. There's no point in this. A guy that's walking to the ring that's serious, and then you got this Mooka beside me. That's Prince Nana. That does nothing but dance. Doesn't even know how to dance.
He's royalty. That's the royal dance of wherever he's from.
Yeah, well, keep it over there.
Burkina Faso.
Yeah, well, don't bring it over here because nobody cares. I mean, everybody.
How did you have that Austin Powers laser disc on standby?
I watch laser discs.
That's a great question right there. Yeah, answer that.
Because my laser disc player's right here.
Touche. I forgot.
I watched. I mean, that's what I watch. I watch laser discs. I like watching, the historic of movies.
Yeah, baby. Yeah.
So this promo between these three gentlemen, I'm going to tread lightly when I speak about Samoa Joe's title reign, because there's nobody hotter in AEW right now than Swerve Strickland, right? The problem is this is Samoa Joe's first title defense, right? And are you going to make him lose it?
Got Hook.
Oh, Hook. Okay. Second one.
I mean,
second. You're right.
Devil.
Yeah. But this is the first title defense that he actually has a viable opponent. It just so happens to be two of them, right? And now it's like Swerve is super strong. Hangman has got really great character work since this heel turn, right? Which they've been butting at, and then it actually happened last week. How do you make either one of them lose? But how do you make Joe, like, you're in a predicament right now. Usually one of these predicaments are great predicaments to have. I've stated before, WWE is in a great spot. They can do no wrong, no matter how much they piss the fans off. It's not about the fans at this point. It's how many seats you can fill for Mania, how much money you can make for the stockholders. They can do no wrong. The stockholders are going to eat it up. The problem with AEW is how many viable contenders do we have?
Well,
if you bury two of them in one match.
Can you really
tell me? Well, you only bury one. I mean, and if you book it correctly, you don't have to bury any of them.
Can you really tell me that there was nobody else besides Joe to put the title on at the time?
I just think that Joe's work. I think it's more of a respect thing, because
that's what it is.
Yeah,
his work sucks.
Well, I can't.
He's over though. They go Joe.
Listen. You have to understand something. Yes, he's over. I get that.
Joe's
you have to understand
you.
something too. How long has Joe been in the business?
25 years.
Ring of Honor, TNA. So he's a well-known, which kills me, because can you mean other TNA wrestlers that have come out of TNA and went to WWE or went to AEW and they're not as over as Joe? So that means that Joe's had such a fan base since TNA that they move where Joe goes. But at the time, there was nobody else to put the title on but Joe. Like, we knew that MJF was hurt. We knew MJF was in dispute with his contract, and the way they were going with that match, there was no other place to put the title but him. But you're right. I think Swerve Strickland is the hottest commodity that AEW has. So why not put the belt on Swerve? I mean, you remember back in the day when they used to do one-on-one matches with a title, and they would go back and forth, winning the title back and forth? Why can't we do something like that? Old school.
I love that era in the Attitude Era. I love tuning in Monday night or Monday Nitro, and a random Monday, somebody's going to win the title. Now it's super predictable. I agree. Maybe it's the fact that we're older fans and the psychology of wrestling and knowing the back ends of the companies and knowing, what the direction is, instead of just being like, whatever. But that just sitting back and watching and with surprise. But I think we're all smart enough to know now, it's like, even if I want this person to win, the company's not going to make them win. And that's the problem now, because it's super. I don't even know the last title change I can remember seeing that wasn't a tag title.
Yeah, I mean, I thought Joe's promo work was good here. I thought Swerve's promo work was very good here. I think when Adam Page came out with his Kermit the Frog voice, That was like a record scratch, but they salvaged it. Joe at the end had a really good line. I can't remember exactly what it was, but he basically stopped them from fighting and said, "I don't care what it is, because I'm going to beat the hell out of both of you."
Joe definitely cleaned that up. He cleaned that up
Joe,
because, in my opinion, and tell me if you agree, right? When Adam comes out, he's like, hold on. I just want to tell you, I wasn't mad last week. I'm like,
let me do Adam Page.
I wasn't mad last week. You thought I was mad, but I wasn't mad. I was just confused.
that was just as much of a Cody Rhodes situation and saying, like, I'm going to face you, but not at WrestleMania. Okay, but then you go out and say, I want to face you at WrestleMania. Like, you did the switch, right? You did the switch. People saw the double turn, or what they thought was a double turn, because I took it as a double turn, because only baby faces go for 5 more minutes in a time match, right? And then the heel always tells you, I'm not giving you that time, right? So that's the switch. But then on social media, everybody's loving the switch, and he comes out, he's like, I didn't switch. It's too late. The people have spoken. We know, because like, faces don't do chicken heel shit and not give you the extra time and back out of the ring. So I just thought that him trying to clean it up was a sloppy excuse. He gave no explanation for anything that made sense. So, and then Joe gets back on the microphone and shreds him.
Yeah. But I'd say this is the only story going on in AEW right now that I'm truly interested in. So I'm not going to complain too much about this. I'll give Adam Page Adam Page is a terrific wrestler, but he's a terrible talker. If there's anyone out there who needs a Stokely Hathaway or someone, or Adam Cole to be his spokesman, it would be Hangman Page or Don Callis. Because I think he's a great wrestler, terrible talker. I disagree that his character work is good. To me, it's confused and muddled. I mean, I don't know how somebody whose house got broken into and someone menacingly hovered over his infant can somehow be considered a heel. Of course, he drank blood and all that. But anyway, this is the only match, the only story that I'm actually really interested in and invested in. So I don't really want to complain. And I thought the promo was fine. I mean, I said what I said about
that. The whole segment was fine to me. I just didn't like his portion because it just didn't line up for what he did the previous week. That's all.
Well, he never does. What they used to say when they used to do the funny little annotations under their names, like they said he was a conflicted cowboy or a millennial conflicted cowboy, something like that. That's what he is. He's conflicted. 1 week he drinks, the next week he doesn't drink. 1 week for a year and a half, his arc was, do I love the Dark Order? Don't I love the Dark Order?
Well, guys, listen, we're going to take another commercial break, but while we do that, let's throw it to one of our hosts on UPR and see what they're up to.
Good idea.
Let's do that. Jay going on SmackDown as well, possibly.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to tell. I think that she can go anywhere. I think that she's a big enough star that she can flip flop. She can appear on Raw. She can appear on Smack. She can be a Swiss Army knife at this point. She's going to get the views.
I mean, hey, Bianca Belair's on SmackDown. You could see one thing.
But wouldn't that be too obvious though?
Yeah, but that's what this is now. Because you have to, when things get hot, you have to address it. What is an example? Seth Rollins versus CM Punk. As soon as they had the opportunity, they addressed it so that everybody can get over it. They need to do that. Like the thing that's buzzing on the internet, what everybody wants to see, sometimes they listen. And look, they gave you the spot already. Yeah. You know what I mean? They gave you the fucking that, and that was an amazing spot. I guarantee you that spot freaking got an enormous amount of views on the internet.
So shout out to Mike Knox from Mike Knox Show. He says Jade Cargill versus Belair, not just yet. And I gotta agree with you, right? Because we got roughly 2 months until Mania. Let's put them against each other at Mania in 2 months.
No.
Let's yeah. You can do SummerSlam. You can do Survivor Series. You can keep slow burning this like a tiny little blunt all the way until next Mania. It's definitely a Mania match, but not this Mania. Like this Mania probably it definitely is going to have it's jam packed, and we don't even know what the card is yet.
Welcome back to the UPR AEW review show. That was our own Z is Silent. Z, what show was that?
That is the SmackDown review show. It's on every Saturday at noon. I am on every other weekend, so Evil Dose usually takes my spot, and Vic is there every week. But the weeks that I don't do that, you can catch me on any other show. Next week I'll be on the Elimination Chamber prediction show with EC. So on my week off, I do stuff during the week. On my weekends, I do SmackDown, and then I host the debate show. So,
well, guys, let's speed up the card here because I think we got a couple more things. But Timeless Tony Storm had a premiere for her short film, as she is that what she called it, the short film, which I really didn't understand why this was a thing. Again, nobody gets what I say when I say this is a copy of Gold Dust, but in black and white. I mean, Gold Dust.
I want to stop you right here because I agree with you this week. They said this was a debut of her new movie, and this was not a film. It wasn't a short film. This was basically just a vignette / promo, and it wasn't very good. It was actually pretty dull. This is getting old. I think it's because Deonna Purrazzo wasn't supposed to be a thing. I think ignoring Mariah May was supposed to be a thing, and they were supposed to be having a blow like a mentor-mentee kind of feud about to blow up right now. But Deonna came in and they wanted to put her in the title because of people like the normal co-host here, Dan the Man. But I agree with you. This didn't make me chuckle, not even once. This just felt completely flat. And I just wanted to stop you because you have been banging this cage. And I'm not saying you were right in the past, but tonight you were right.
I mean, and then, we see this as her getting a tattoo, covering up the little tattoo that she has, a duplicate of with Deonna Purrazzo. Am I wrong with it? It's Donna Purrazzo. Is it?
Yes, yeah.
Okay. And it's a bird. It's a bird. And then we cut to Renee Paquette with Donna Purrazzo's promo, and she says they call her a yakety M, which is talking too much. So, I mean, I'm just a little confused. I mean, I understand the feud's going on, but I don't understand why they're giving her so much steam and ammo with these stupid vignettes and just I'm not a fan of it. I know you guys think this is the best thing Tony Storm's done, over the last couple of years. I'm just not a fan.
I will say that I understand the vignette, right? It's to bring. Deonna's been perceived as this nice former friend of Tony. She's been playing nice and playing by the rules with Tony and her promos, with her interactions with Tony. And this was more so, I took it as though something that is supposed to bring out emotion in Deonna, because we haven't seen any real emotion from Deonna, right? It's her. We still don't know what Deonna's supposed to be outside of the former best friend of Tony Storm. So to show Tony getting a dagger through the duck that they got matching tattoos of, I get the symbolism of it, right? It's if you cover up a tattoo of a former friend and it's supposed to, and that friend they see it and they get pissed off. That's what it's supposed to do with Deonna. She seemed pissed off, but it didn't seem like she was really bothered. I mean, the tattoo looked old as shit anyway. So
let me propose an alternate to get to the reaction, to have it make more sense, to do basically the same thing, but better with just a little bit of creativity. Now, I don't think Vince would have liked it anymore, but I think we would have. I think the rest of the audience would have. You tell the same story, but you tell it as a movie in chronological fashion, with Mariah May doing a shitty impersonation of Deonna Purrazzo and making her look like basically like she's Gunga Din or some shit-ass servant over there, and worshiping everything that Tony Storm does, and make it basically a hit piece on Deonna Purrazzo, and Mariah May has to be supplicating.
I like that. I like that a lot, and that reminds me of.
Right?
I like that. That reminds me of, remember when Cena and Miz were feuding and then they brought their significant others in? So now you got Cena and Nikki Bella versus Miz and Maurice. And Miz and Maurice did the spinoff of Total Bellas.
Yes.
And they dressed up as Nikki and John.
Yes.
Hilarious. So if that's the angle that you're speaking of, that Tony could have went with Mariah to get under Deonna's, perfect. But it just didn't do enough, and Deanna's reaction just wasn't enough. I'm gonna break your arm, bitch.
Yeah.
Okay, I've heard Ronda Rousey say that shit. I heard Shayna Baszler say this shit. They still didn't get over. So I don't really get that, and it sucks because I'm a huge Deonna Purrazzo fan. I've been stating for 2 or 3 years that she's been the number one women's wrestler in that's not in WWE for past 2-3 years, and to see her go to a secondary company and put on this first showing kind of sucks, but hopefully it gets better.
Now we move on to the cutscene with the VPs, Nicholas and Matthew, coming in from the limo and coming to the ring as they take on Top Flight, and still wearing those suits with the blood on them from the week before with Sting and Darby Allin's blood. I mean, listen, again, I don't think this match was that bad. I mean, Top Flight's always cool to see because they do so many cool things. The flips and these guys can really fly around the ring. Again, I don't know what they're doing with the Young Bucks. I really don't. I don't understand it. I wish they would just leave it alone and just let these guys do what they've done for 15, 20 years and be the Young Bucks. But I don't know.
You said you don't get it. What did you think about what Darby said to the Bucks after the match? Because I thought that shed a lot of light on the characters of Matt and Nicholas Jackson and where they're going as opposed to where they've been. Did you not see that, or did you not look at it that way?
So the mission statement is to change the world, is what the Young Bucks said. Okay, and what Darby said is these VPs of the companies are trying to take it in their hands and not bring what they brought to the table in the beginning. I get it. I understand it. These guys are trying to be more of a powerful business persona of the VP of AEW. I get that. But here's my thing. Why all of a sudden now are we changing their characters? Because they went away. One was hurt. Two were hurt. I don't know what the story was. Now they're coming back, and now they're trying to be characters that they should have been all along as they came into the company. Like, to me, I feel like they're taking this idea and rewinding back to something they should have done way before this.
Yeah, I like that. I like that idea. I get it, but I also think that this is, you can slow burn this until you can get a 100% healthy Kenny Omega back,
which is not going to be anytime soon.
I don't think it'll be. It will be lucky if it's by December at least, but I doubt it. Some of the reports are saying that he's on course, but it's still it's. I can't even say the shit, but whatever. Diverticulitis. I almost had it. Damn, I had it. I should have kept going. Yeah. So I think that if we do get him, it'll be December-ish. But if not, next year we'll see you again. But it just depends on how long they can slow burn this.
Listen, the match was fine. I don't know what they're doing Top Flight. I thought Top Flight was supposed to be in a feud with Private Party. That's what they should be doing. The Young Bucks should be being brutal to some other teams. If you're trying to invest in Top Flight and or Private Party as your teams that are coming up the rankings.
You're right. They should have. Look at that.
Yeah.
3 and 4. You're right. You're absolutely right. I didn't even think of that.
Yeah, they should. I mean, I don't know who's a face team below them. I can only think of heel teams like the Dark Order and the Butcher and the Blade that don't technically work for them, and the Outrunners or Outriggers, whatever they. But anyway, there's got to be somewhere that they could have done this to. But the match was fine, and Vince, I agree with you. The Bucks are just playing themselves with abuse of power, but they're no longer trying to save the world. They're trying to protect their spot in their politicking. I'm just going to say it's that better late than never. Is it particularly convincing? No. I think if they actually just acted themselves, it'd be more convincing, because I think the only two people who don't know they're douchebags are them. But I think it's fine. And Darby was the promo that I think that you guys wanted from Deanna. I mean, Darby was on fire. Darby is not someone that I think of as a natural talker, but he was talking natural. And I don't think that he believes that, that Brandon Cutler sucks, although he does. I don't think he believes that Cody was the only EVP with a brain, but it sounded like a pipe bomb, and it sounded authentic. And I thought that was great. I mean, I typed in our group chat, but nobody was paying attention because everybody else was watching the show or on dates or crying because they didn't have dates. And I said, thank the old and new gods for Darby Allin right now, because he was absolutely the high spot of this entire show for me.
It's definitely was a bright
on
spot.
fire. Everybody should listen to that promo.
Well, moving on to another backstage vignette. Welcome to the lounge. That is the Bang Bang Scissor Gang Lounge, and the new shirts they have out. And this is, to me, I'm not going to say it is, but they're trying to do the NWO of the future, which is never going to happen. But then they do a promo to announce it's going to be a 12-man tag match and guns up. Is that what I got from this?
Yeah, the other thing is that they're doing the same thing before when these teams were aligned before when there were a couple less guys, where the Gun Boys would suggest something and Billy would ignore them, and the Acclaim would say the same thing and Billy would go, great idea. But instead, one of the Gun Kids said something and Billy starts to say it, then the Gun Kid says it, but then Billy finishes the line. They're all like, great idea. So it's the same shtick again, which, I mean, I don't know what the point of this is. They were supposed to be fighting. It was strength in numbers to defeat the Devil's groups. They're all supposed to get gold, but they all already had gold. They're not talking about any other gold they're looking for. They mentioned it a couple times, but they seem to have forgotten that. And their way to get there is to have a 12-man match. I mean, last I heard, there are no 12-man titles, and don't give Tony any ideas because there will be. But I this feels very forced. I don't think these guys have any particular chemistry together. I just think that Billy said, I don't know how much longer I can do this. I want to work with my kids.
Yeah.
Well, moving on from that to the Will Nightingale versus Sky Blue. This was not a bad match. I'm not going to say it was a great match, but it wasn't. I think Will Nightingale has a lot of potential. What is Will Nightingale on the rankings? Is she up there?
I don't believe so. No.
Which is a shame because
how is Mariah May at 5?
Which is a joke. That's a joke.
Okay.
Anyways, I'm going to tell you this right now. I think this match had potential. I think there was a couple parts in the match that went south on these two girls. The ending was the assist by Hathaway, which I think we all knew that Will Nightingale was going to get the W.
Except that she's the face and she won by her manager sort of cheating. Now, she didn't know that he was doing it, but it could have just been the other way, because when Chris Statlander didn't come down with them, I mean, you knew it was either going to be Stokely helps Willow win, Stokely inadvertently causes Willow to lose, or just as likely Julia Hart missed, because she walked down, but then she disappeared as well, which I guess is a House of Black thing to do, is just disappear. But the match was fine. I just feel like the story now is which women do or don't like Stokely this week. It's the same four ladies. I just feel like it's going to be a do-si-do, like the hot potato angle you guys were talking about with Swerve and Hangman and maybe Joe as well. I think we're going to get that with the TBS championship with these four ladies, and then Stokely's going to be switching allegiances like the Big Show. And, I suppose that's fine, but all of a sudden they have like 20 women who need time. Serena D, we've already forgot about her return. Thunder Rosa, she's already lost back in the shuffle again. We're about to probably get Mercedes Moné. I mean, well, she's probably going to be in the world title picture. Well, Deonna Purrazzo needs something to do. There are no women tag team belts. And while this company probably shouldn't have any more titles, if they're going to, it should be women's tag team titles so that they have something for people to do. But I don't know. This was inoffensive, but I don't think it was. I mean, I feel like this was a decent match for Rampage or Collision. I didn't feel like much of anything tonight, except for Darby's promo, was the flagship A show material.
I think this match was more so like the more intriguing characters really are Sky Blue and Julia Hart, right? They've got the most mysterious thing about them. They've been, in each other's matches and all that. So you would think that the focus would be on them, but also on the flip side is Stokely trying to manage Statlander. Well, if he's getting Statlander, he's going to grab the best friend in Willow. So I think the more intriguing thing is if you get one, you gotta get both of them. So if he helps Willow win and she doesn't know that he helped and she still gets the win, he kind of looks like a great person to be like, yeah, I can be your manager. So I think the intrigue there in that aspect is a little bit more, it has a little bit more potential than whatever Julia and Sky Blue have going on, because at this point we don't even know anymore. Like, they had this kind of possessed lesbianism type thing, and then it stopped, and then Sky Blue kind of, she like distanced herself from Julia, but then Julia comes back in her life, and I'm like, what is going on here? Like, it's too much. So I just think whatever they got going on between those two, it's not working. But they didn't have
One minor
enough
correction:
heels.
you can never have too much possessed lesbianism.
Possessed lesbianism.
Listen. When we come back, we're gonna get into our last match, the Texas Death Match between Matt Taven and Orange Cassidy. So let's bring it to the end, guys.
Yeah, boy.
So Rhea comes out, and La Sicaria, my esposa, she comes out, she goes, she's looking different. I'm like, yeah, she's always changing up, and she's growing her hair. I'm sensing it's face change, the face turn is coming. Once that hair gets long enough, and she wants Nia Jax, and Adam Pearce comes running out. Well, Rhea, you can't do that right now. Why? I'm not sure. She can do whatever she wants, but and why doing a promo in the ring is now also hijacking the show. But anyway, he says, you want Nia Jax? I'm going to give you Nia Jax in 2 weeks at the Elimination Chamber for the title. And are you happy? Yes, we're happy. And then Nia comes out, and he calls out. And the funny thing is, she ran right through Adam Pearce and beat him up a couple times, and then ran through security. But
listen, Nia Jax is the most dominating female wrestler to not be considered a dominant female wrestler to me. I think she deserves the stripes that she's getting. But they don't position her. I'll never forget how they let Alexa Bliss beat her. I was just like, it's just, come on. It's where's my plastic bottle? And light her again. It's like, come on.
Do your hook to a Samoa Joe routine.
Yeah, like, come on, that's not possible. But this is feasible. Rhea Thickly has destroyed every female that's come around her. And it just list continues. But who she has not dominated, who she has not been able to push around, has been Nia Jax. The Beauty and the Beast is back, and she's shown it tonight. She's losing weight. That fupa is looking amazing. She's here for it all.
Well, I'm telling you, I think the narrative with Nia Jax is changing in this run. When she was first, announced as rehired, I think there were a lot of groans, but she's been killing it. And if this second act of Nia Jax continues, even for 3 to 5 years, I think she's going to redefine her entire career.
Welcome back to the AEW Review Show. The fupa is back, as Mike Knox says. That is the Raw Review Show right after Monday Night Raw. Starts at 11 p.m. You can check Evil Dose and Mike Knox as they do the rant of what goes on after Monday Night Raw. Well, guys, it is the last match on the card. I'm going to tell you this right off the bat. I don't consider this a death match. I consider it a crazy match. There were some parts that I was just like, I don't get. I'm hoping we've all seen a Texas death match, and I think they had potential of doing. Is
the last Texas death match we saw was with Jeff Jarrett and Jeff Hardy with that Texas Chainsaw Massacre goofy shit that we saw? Was that a Texas death match?
Yeah, and that wasn't even one.
Jesus.
So
I didn't even know until you said it that this was a Texas death match. I really didn't know.
So I just think AEW is kind of lost in this area of Texas death matches, because if they really saw what a real Texas death match was, it was an insane match. You're right, it was. There were some crazy parts. I think some things that stood out was the fact that I think one of the lines was, candy is bad for your teeth, but this is bad for your body. And they were talking about the chocolate box, which I think was stupid. I think the dive that Taven took to the table, and then did you all watch as he took the dive to the table? Everything on the announcing table fell forward like it was a gust of wind, like whoosh. Like, okay, what hurricane came in here? Who took all the shit out? And they're all like, hey, listen, there's nothing going on. We had no monitors. Oh, okay. I didn't know Tarvin, 115 pounds, can take everything off the table. That's crazy to me. That's nuts.
Their version of Texas death matches to me are strange, because Texas death matches are basically street fights, and they treat them as last man standing matches, which I forget every single time. and wonder what's going on, because in Texas death matches that I've seen, you can be pinned, you can and you can be submitted or TKO or whatever. But this is their version of it. Okay, it was a crazy match, but it was dumb. You had you had Mike Bennett come in and do dumb stuff. You had Trent Beretta come in. They the chocolate box with the with the note from Chuck with the thumbtacks. Okay, but then you do the same thing with Trent Beretta coming down with flowers with a pipe. I mean, why is he hiding the pipe in a box of flowers? I mean, it's unnecessary at that point.
Day, man.
Well, I understand that why, but it's also a Texas death match on Valentine's Day. At least this Texas death match was one of the two they've had in the last 12 months that were in Texas. But they really overdo the Texas death. Listen, if you like these guys, you're going to think this match was fun. A Texas death match should be the end of a feud and should be leader versus leader, not leader versus goon number 3, 4, or 5. I'm not even sure what number. I'm sure that Matt Taven is ahead of Mike Bennett, but I'm not sure if he's ahead of Roderick Strong or Wardlow or not. So I'm not even sure which goon number he is. So this just seemed like AEW does this all the time. They give you the crazy stipulations at the beginning of a feud, and so the end of a feud never really feels like the end of a feud. Even with Blood and Guts, they had immediately another version of Blood and Guts like a week later. Happy
Valentine's Day, Sharpie.
Listen, I'm not a fan of this faction. I'm not a fan of this feud. I don't care about the international championship and Roderick Strong and his yelling. So that's all. So that's all I got to say about that.
Now, do you think this is because it's Valentine's Day? They wanted the people to know that if you're with your significant other this long, this is what happens in the relationship. You start throwing shit and you put them through a table and you hit them with a chair. Is it what they're coming by?
They should have played joy. They should have played Joy and Pain during the whole thing.
Listen, we're gonna do a new segment on the show called The Last 30. I'm gonna give each person 30 seconds. They're gonna tell me what you thought about the show and the grade of it. And at 30 seconds, I'm capping you. I'm going to let Jeff go first. Your 30 seconds starts now.
I don't need 30 seconds. This show felt very discombobulated to me. There were a few high points, but most of it felt like it was reruns or not particularly exciting to me. It did advance a couple stories. I felt a little bit confused about a lot of things. I think you heard my rants already. I don't need to repeat them. I'm going to give this show a C-.
All right. That was not even a minute. Z is silent. Go ahead.
Well, I came with slides. I don't really care about that match. Listen, the night. Listen, if this is the card that we're getting, right? This looks like a promising card. The problem is, I don't even know what's going on with Takeshita and Will Ospreay, right? Eddie Kingston and Bryan Danielson haven't even done much of nothing in the ring. I don't care for Orange Cassidy and Roderick Strong, but the rest of the card looks really good. So if they're still going to build towards this card, I am interested. I'm a wrestling fan, so of course I'm going to watch it. I'm not going to pay for it, but I'm going to watch it. So tonight, I just thought tonight was very meh. It was wrestling. It was more so on in the background. I paid attention because I was doing the show tonight, but most of the time, it's just on in the background until I hear something that catches my eye. But I thought it was a decent night for me. There was nothing else on TV, so.
What was your grade?
Yeah, my grade, I give it a C+. I wasn't unentertained, but I wasn't super over entertained. So it was a good watch. It was a decent watch.
Well, for me, I'm gonna say I thought there was a couple good matches. I'm not gonna say it was the best Dynamite. I feel like they try very hard to make it a good Dynamite every week, but I always think they fall short because I think with the too many backstage vignettes, too many Renee Paquettes, and there's too many stupid vignettes with timeless Tony Storm. The list goes on and on. I'm going to give this show, I'm going to give it a B. No, I'm going to give it a C.
Yep. So it looks like we all agree that this show it could have been better, but we've seen worse. So it's okay. They still got 2.5 weeks till what's this? It was 2 weeks roughly. 2 weeks. March 3rd, you got 2 weeks. So you still got 2 weeks to hook us. which is fine. I think they're on pace. If that's 6 matches right there, I expect probably like 2 more to be announced.
10 more
Maybe.
matches for sure. And by the way, programming note: this week Rampage is at 7:00 on
Because of
Friday.
the
Collision is not on Saturday, so I think Collision is going to be right after Rampage, or is it just preempted totally?
No. I think it might be. I don't. I just heard Excalibur say that it was starting at 7, but it might be early.
If you want to see Rampage, tune in at 7, or make sure your DVR.
Actually, they might switch it over to TBS instead of TNT, because usually the All-Star Game stuff is on TNT. So they might switch it over.
Well, you check the time and place. Just be checking for it. I know Collision is on Saturday night. That's all I know. But you can check out it. See, even Jeffrey Reimer. See, like we're all in the C family here, and usually I'm a much lower grader, and this week I wasn't much lower than you guys. So I mean, I think this was a subpar show for where they should be heating things up. I mean, this is supposed to be the most exciting time for AEW. I just think that sort of like one time the Wolf is going to be there, but nobody's going to be in the gun towers.
All right, before we get out of here, Vinny, got to go through the shows for the week. I think tomorrow we're doing the TNA review show. I think Bad Guy and EC are doing that. So EC is going to be on back-to-back action. Also on the UPR Entertainment side, you got Mike Knox and his lovely wife Amira doing the husband and wife review show. I have no idea of anything with Power, but I do listen to them. They make me want to watch the show, but I feel like I haven't watched anything of Power, so I would be just remiss on watching it now. Then we have the no, that's not it. SmackDown review show Saturday. Catch me and Vic. And then that night, you'll have the Collision review show. Right after Collision, Captain Shay, Sheriff, or it'll probably be Evil Dose, filling in for somebody. And then come back on Monday. You can catch the Mike Knox show, 6 p.m. And then that night, you will be able to catch the watch along with Uno Dos and an executive consultant. And remind me, I have to put your name on that thing because Chris never told me, or he never put it on there. And then we have the NXT review and results show with Bad Guy Jack and Barbara, aka Dark Dahlia. So we got a lot of stuff for anybody who likes anything. I'm pretty sure we have something for you. Vinny, back to you. Close us out of here.
Well, guys, that is all we have for you tonight. Thanks for joining us on the AEW Review Show. Thanks for all the comments. Everybody that follows the channel, check out everything that happens on UPR, because there's also some real good some good programming for everybody to watch. But thank you, Z is Silent and Evil Dose, for joining me tonight. Dan will be back next week after his date. And I also want to hear about Dan's date. So next week we're going to have a review of Dan's Valentine's Day date. Before, it's going to be the AEW review of Dan's date on Valentine's Day before the AEW review show. So we're going to get that.
I hope he had a 7-day date.
Huh?
I hope he had a 7-day date. It's like goes from this week all through next. I want it to be biblical, the perfect number of 7.
Well, guys, listen, I'm going to go back and I'm going to go watch the Goodfellas Laserdisc right now.
Nice.
Yeah. So until next week, guys, thanks for joining us.